What's going on, guys? Victor here with a brand new video, and I got to talk about UFC Vegas 59 that's going to be taking place this Saturday from the UFC Apex facility. We're going back to Las Vegas after taking a quick trip to Dallas for UFC 277, and man, we've got a banger for the main event. Two bangers in the UFC light heavyweight division. I'm talking about the number 6 ranked Thiago Santos, the former title challenger who fought John Jones in the past. He is 22-10, 15 KOs in his career versus Jamahal, who is the number 10th ranked, who is 10-1 with one loss. Obviously, Thiago Santos faced John Jones for the UFC Light Heavyweight Championship and ended up tearing his whole knee up. I believe he tore his whole right knee, and then he ended up tearing the ACL in his left knee. So he ended up coming out of the fight with one of his knees completely torn and another one with a torn ACL, but he was able to fight through all of that pain and go 5 full rounds with John Jones. And it was a close fight. It really was a close fight. And I believe that fight ended in a split decision, but it was a great fight overall. A lot of people really thought that Thiago Santos ended up getting the win, but unfortunately he didn't. It went to the judges, and he had to go through that whole entire injury. He had to get surgery. He had to learn how to walk again. It was completely insane, but he hasn't been the same fighter ever since. He's currently 1-4 in his last 5 fights. His last one was against Johnny Walker, and he's had a couple losses to Alexander Rakic, another loss to Magomed Ankalaev, another loss to... He's just been losing left and right, and it's sad because he was a very dominant light heavyweight, and he still has the capability of being a dominant light heavyweight as well, but it's just he's been facing all these killers lately, and he's been facing so much high competition. And there's one thing that a lot of you guys might forget is that he was a middleweight at a time, and he did really well at middleweight, but he decided to go up and weight the light heavyweight, and that's where he really made a tear. He was able to get a good amount of wins in a row, and he was able to cap off that run to the title with a knockout of the former UFC light heavyweight champion, Jan Blachowicz. You don't see a lot of people knock out Jan Blachowicz, and Thiago Santos was able to do it because that's how much power he possesses. And with that win, it secured a title shot against John Jones. Now, if we go to the other side of the tape, I want to talk about Jamahal Hill. Jamahal Hill is 10-1 in his UFC career. He came out through the Contender Series, and his only blemish on his UFC record, or in his whole entire career, was against Paul Craig. And he was tagging Paul Craig, but the fight ended up going to the floor. He was hitting Paul Craig with some ground and pound, but Paul Craig was able to lock in an armbar and finish the fight via submission. Other than that, Jamahal Hill has not lost since. He's won 2 straight. He ended up knocking out Johnny Walker and knocking out Jimmy Crute. Some very tough competition, and now he's having the opportunity of a lifetime to break in possibly into that top 5 when he faces the former title challenger, Thiago Santos. If there's one thing we know about these two individuals is that they possess a lot of power. Thiago Santos has lost some of that power because of the injury that he sustained against John Jones, and he hasn't been the same ever since, and he hasn't finished anyone ever since as well. Jamahal, on the other hand, has been finishing people left and right, and Jamahal has a lot of power, and his striking is very crisp. His accuracy is on a high level. The only problem that we all have with Jamahal Hill is that he still has a lot of work to do when it comes to the wrestling, when it comes to jiu-jitsu, when he can be able to fix those liabilities that he has. He's going to be an absolute problem in this division. Not a serious problem, an absolute problem in this division. And if he is able to get his hand raised against Thiago Santos, it's only going to be up from there. It's only going to be more valuable competition and harder competition to face up against. And the majority of the guys in the top 5 of the light heavyweight division have some sort of a background in wrestling or jiu-jitsu, so it's going to be very vital for him to learn as much as possible in order to contend with the absolute best in the division. Now, if I'm Thiago Santos, you're the number 6 guy, you're facing someone with a double-digit ranking. If I'm Thiago, there's no way I can be able to lose this guy because, like I said, he's 1-4 in his last 5 fights. If I lose to Jamahal Hill, there's a possibility that I can be replaced in the division and end up getting my contract terminated. As we all know, Thiago has had a new daughter ever since his last fight against Magomed Ankalaev with Yana Kunistaya. I believe they're both married, and they both have a daughter together. Obviously, when you have a child that changes your life, it gives you more motivation, it gives you more of a drive to be able to go into a fight and finish it as fast as possible, get out of there unscathed. But like I said, Jamahal Hill is a problem, and if this fight stays on the feet, it's going to be a problem for Thiago Santos. If I'm him, I really do want him to take the fight to the ground as fast as possible, because Jamahal Hill doesn't have the best takedown defense in the division. He's been taken down before in the past, but he's working on his takedown defense, and it is getting better. But like I said, Thiago does have a background in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, so if I'm Thiago Santos, taking down and trying to submit him as fast as possible. But it depends on if he can or if he cannot, because Jamahal Hill is a very strong individual. He is a tall and muscular fighter that has a lot of power to use as offense and a lot of power to use as defense as well. At the very beginning of Jamahal Hill's career with the UFC, when he came off from the Contender Series, a lot of people didn't really take him serious until his second UFC fight in the UFC that he had in the UFC Apex facility, where he knocked out his opponent, and he was just screaming in the camera the whole entire time and basically letting the whole world know who he is, letting the whole world know that he has arrived, that he's a problem in the division. I remember Kamaru Usman using that phrase when he knocked out his Brazilian opponent in UFC Pittsburgh. I'm a problem in the division. And as a result, that problem ended up becoming a UFC champion of the world. And Jamahal Hill definitely has the talent. He has the skills to do so as well. But he's going to be facing some tough competition in Thiago Santos. Thiago Santos doesn't want to lose to an individual that's outside of the... that's basically on the outside looking in of the top 8 all the way down to 1 rankings, So obviously this is going to be an interesting fight. Thiago, he's going to have to take it to the ground as fast as possible can in order to get this win, because if it stays on the feet, I believe you might end up getting knocked out. We haven't seen Thiago get knocked out in a while, but we have seen Thiago get submitted in the past. But if I'm Jamahal Hill, stay on the feet the whole entire time, make this fight as nasty and gritty as possible, and set your traps for Thiago Santos in order to lure him in close enough for you to be able to bring him in to connect with that right hand, because he does have a lot of power with the right hand. He also use combinations as well. You never want to go in with just one punch, coming in and out with either a 1 or a 2, either a jab or a cross. You don't want to do that. You don't want to do that at all. You want to set up your combinations. You want to set up your traps in order to distract your opponent to go in and finish him with a killer blow. And if I'm Thiago Santos, I know you don't have that power like you used to, but you still can be able to use it for your own good. But it's definitely not going to be useful in the middle of the octagon. I think it's maybe more useful against the fence when they're in a tight-knit situation, especially when they're grappling. And if I'm him, I'm definitely using the cage. So when you're in the clinch, throwing uppercuts to the body, definitely throwing knees to the body as well, or throwing knees to the quads, to the hamstrings, and doing as much as possible in order to score points. Because I don't believe that Thiago Santos will be able to finish Jamahal Hill. I think his best course of action is to play it extremely smart and win the fight via points on a decision. If I'm Jamahal Hill, trying to go in for the knockout as fast as possible. That's pretty much all I have when it comes to the keys to victories for both of these individuals. And it's going to be an interesting fight. I really do like it a lot. But I do believe that Jamahal Hill is going to win this fight. I believe he's going to win via knockout. And it's going to be the first time that Thiago Santos has been knocked out in a very long time, basically. But Jamahal Hill, he's a very gifted individual. He's powerful. He's got a lot of skills. He just has to work on the wrestling and on jiu-jitsu. And if he can be able to work on those 2 liabilities that he has in his game, then he will be a force to be reckoned with in the very near future and possibly contend for a UFC light heavyweight championship in the world. I appreciate you guys watching this video. Stay safe, stay blessed, and enjoy the fights this Saturday. UFC Fight Night Vegas 59. Later, guys.